Amber fragrances have been around for a long time, and they're pretty, amber, it comes from a tree. It mostly, is composed of tree sap that then solidified. And the thing about amber is that it just has a very unique resinous, yet woody sort of aroma. And a lot of perfumes try to kind of capture that aroma, and it gives it a warmer kind of scent. And there are quite a few amber perfumes to talk about, but I have a small list of 5 here. I'm going to start with these two, because both of them are top-notch amber fragrances. I guess we could start with Emerod. Emerod is the less known of the two. This one's Obsession, but Emerod is one of the older kind of variations of amber perfumes. It might not look very amberish, but it's from 1921, and it was one of the first Oriental perfumes to be invented. And the thing about it is that you don't get the amber at first. You get kind of these light citrus notes at first, a little bit of powderiness, then some wood notes, and then the amber kind of seeps in towards the end, and it gives it a little bit of this kind of interesting warmth that you wouldn't expect from this sort of perfume, because it is pretty citrus forward, and then when the amber kicks in, then it gets more interesting. The main downside for me is that this is a clone. So, even though you get a lot for the bottle, the amount, it won't really stick to you that much. It's more, it'll kind of evaporate in a relatively short period, so that's the main downside. But it is a nice light amber. Some amber fragrances are pretty heavy, but this one is on the lighter side, so that pretty much makes it unique. And it has a long history, and it's still around, which means, it's not half bad. So Emerod by Coty is a good choice for a casual amber fragrance, I suppose. And then we have Obsession. Obsession is this is the color of amber, basically, so it pretty much tells you what's going on. Obsession is... Just because Emerald and Obsession are both technically amber perfumes doesn't mean they smell similar necessarily, because Obsession is a very heavy, musky, almost sticky kind of perfume, and it came out in the 80s. And the thing about Obsession is that, you kind of get this amber in the top, middle, and base notes. It kind of weaves through the entire perfume. So, you don't have to wait for the amber note to kick in. It's pretty much there right off the bat. And it blends really well with the other warm notes this perfume has. And this perfume is generally very, very warm and heavy. And blending in with the wood notes, the musk notes, animalistic notes, all that really gives Obsession its obsessive nature, I suppose. And it's definitely a really good option for anyone who's looking for a true amber fragrance, because you can't get more amber than this. It would be very hard to do so. So Obsession definitely, it's on the top of the tier list for amber fragrances. And it's pretty strong, it'll last a long time. This is the Eau de Parfum, which you probably can't see. Or maybe you can. But it's just a really good fragrance. The animalistic notes may not be for everyone, but it is just in general a good perfume. So, in a similar vein is Shalimar here. And this is actually very similar to both Emerod and Obsession. It's kind of like the intermediary, I would say. The thing about Shalimar, it's actually almost as old as Emerod, 1925. It's also an oriental fragrance. It was inspired off of India's exotic incense and spices and, you know, resins, stuff like that. So this is very, like Obsession, very, very strong perfume, heavy, very resinous. It's a bit harsher, you know, not as sweet as Obsession. It's smokier as well, less animalistic, and this focus more on the smokiness mixed with the amber really gives it a more kind of bold, exotic sort of feel, and mysterious too because of that smokiness thrown in there. So, and there's a bit of difference depending on whether you get the eau de parfum or the eau de toilette. I have the eau de parfum, which is stronger and kind of a little bit sweeter, but both are pretty much amber forward, smoke forward, incensey, and the amber note really just goes well with all the other notes mixed in, and the amber grounds the scent, you know, and makes sure it's not too much of something. Amber is a very grounding note, very natural, very, you know, like a rock. It's not technically a rock, but hard like a rock. So then there's a sort of less known amber fragrance, which is Chanel. This is mainly characterized as a floral fragrance rather than an amber fragrance, but there is amber in this, in the base notes, and you can detect that after when you first put it on, you won't really get the amber, but as you start wearing it over the hours and it kind of seeps into your skin, it warms up a little bit, then you get the amber. And that's how it is with a lot of different perfumes. You know, it kind of will evolve and change as it warms up on the skin. So when you first put on Chanel No. 5, it will be primarily floral. Florals aren't too sweet, mainly just kind of, you know, natural, kind of neutral florals, white florals, and then some wood notes, and then you get the amber with a bit of civet. I think there's vanilla, but the amber note, again, it has that grounding nature. So what you kind of are lacking in the top and middle notes, the amber comes in the bottom notes and makes sure that this, you know, perfume is rounded out and has all the layers that it needs. And it's especially good because Chanel No. 5 has aldehydes in it, aldehydes in the top notes to make it kind of lighter and brighter, maybe a little bit sharp, but the amber keeps it from getting too sharp. So, you know, it's just a really nice addition. The amber is not as prominent in Chanel No. 5 as it is with Obsession or Shalimar. Even with Emerod, the amber is more on the down low sort of thing. So if you want a lighter amber, then this is a good option. Very similar with this last one here, the L'air du Temps by Nina Ricci, and this is a very classic French perfume. It's kind of something very, very similar to Chanel No. 5, and it has those white florals in the top and middle notes, and it also has some of the very similar wood notes, and then it has the amber notes. I would say that the amber notes in L'air du Temps are stronger than the amber notes in Chanel No. 5. And that mainly comes through because L'air du Temps is warmer overall, I think, compared to Chanel. And that warmth is more immediate. You don't have to wait to get it. As soon as you put it on, you get the floral notes, but then you get this wash of warm amber. So that kind of makes it unique because most floral perfumes don't really have that. So that's pretty much it for my little list here of amber perfumes. If you have any ideas or opinions about amber perfumes, you can always leave a comment down below about them. If you liked the video, maybe leave a like or subscribe, and I make videos throughout the week, so stick around for those.